The Amazon rainforest is the largest rainforest in the world. It used to cover 4 to 5 million square kilometers of land, but now only covers 2 to 3 million, largely due to deforestation. It is often referred to as the lungs of the earth, as it is responsible for about 20% of the world's oxygen. There are 6 main groups in the Amazon region who each have their own ideas of how to use the land. They are the native Amazonians, the rubber tappers, the loggers, the settlers, the cattle ranchers, and the environmentalists. The native Amazonians have lived in the rainforest for about 12,000 years. There were once as many as 10 million people living in the rainforest, but the number has declined since then. All they want is to continue their traditional way of life. They hunt and grow crops on small plots of land they have cleared. When it is no longer fertile, they clear land somewhere else. The forest regrows the old land, so their way of life is sustainable. In the 1960s, land was opened to farmers, ranchers, and loggers who drove the native Amazonians out of their land to make rooms for farms and ranches. The newcomers also brought along diseases that killed some natives, and others were killed in land use conflict. Rubber tappers have lived in the rainforest for many generations. They essentially collect sap from rubber trees, then dry it into rubber to make products such as erasers or tires. They first came to the rainforest in the 1870s to work on plantations. When the price of rubber dropped, the plantations were abandoned, but many rubber tappers stayed to continue making money. The way they collect sap is harmless and does not hurt the rainforest at all. That means that their activity is sustainable. But like the native Amazonians, when the outsiders arrived in the 1960s, they destroyed the rubber trees for what they claimed was a better way to use it. Since then, the rubber tappers have demanded reserves, pieces of land set aside for only rubber tapping. Logging companies first moved into the Amazon region in the 1960s. They harvest trees from the rainforest to use in wood products ranging from paper to furniture. A huge variety of trees grow in the Amazon rainforest, but the most valuable ones, such as mahogany and rosewood, are scattered everywhere, so the loggers clear-cut the trees to find them. Clear-cutting means cutting from the roots, ensuring that the forest will not grow back. This makes logging an unsustainable activity. Loggers defend this by claiming they provide jobs for people and boost Brazil's economy by multiple billions a year. Brazil has the 11th largest economy in the world, yet about a quarter of its people are poor. So in the 1960s, Brazil began encouraging its poor people to move to the Amazon rainforest. They became the settlers and were given land and money to grow crops, but they soon realized that the soil has very little nutrients and they would have to move often, much like the native Amazonians. But there isn't much space for them to move to, as all the other groups are claiming the land for their own activities. These other groups actually want the settlers to leave the rainforest, but the settlers defend themselves by saying that the government encouraged them to come here and that they have nowhere else to go to feed their families. The cattle ranchers, like many other groups, entered the rainforest in the 1960s. They used the land cleared by the loggers to graze their cattle. Cattle are similar to cows and produce great beef and leather. The cattle ranchers use up a lot of land for raising their cattle, which upsets many people. Their activities are highly unsustainable. Their argument is that they feed people all over the world and add billions to the economy. The environmentalists came to the rainforest in the 1970s to study the plants and biodiversity. They are fighting for slowing down the development of the rainforest. They believe that if we continue to develop the rainforest at the same rate, we would destroy it. They have managed to set up reserves for sustainable activities and stop the recklessness of the cattle ranchers. Over time, solutions have surfaced as to how we can end the conflict. The 3 main solutions are ecotourism, encouraging sustainable development, and buying products that protect the rainforest. Ecotourism is having people visit to see the rainforest. While this boosts the economy, it also gives people a reason to preserve what people want to see, but sometimes the tourists may harm the rainforest themselves. Encouraging sustainable development means finding ways to use the rainforest without harming it. This can be done in ways such as planting crops that do not require clear-cutting, and instead of clear-cutting, strip logging. The final solution is buying products that protect the rainforest. Consumers can buy products that support sustainable development, such as cereals made from Brazil nuts from native Amazonian companies, or buy wood from people who strip log. The best solution out of these 3, in my opinion, is encouraging sustainable development. Ecotourism only brings more potential damage to the rainforest, and buying products that protect the rainforest won't stop people from clear-cutting. If we start strip logging, everything will grow back at a much better rate, and with botanists finding new ways to grow crops without harming the ecosystem, we may be able to preserve what remains of the rainforest.